I'm doing what I want.
I did it for the love of the shit.
Doing it for the love, so now I'm doing what I want.
I did it for the love of the shit.
Hip hop and rap, yeah, that's where my heart's at. Doing it for the love.
What's up, everybody? Tonight we have another post-game Sixers episode show, but it's also Half-Court Heat episode 8, so we kind of combined the two because we're coming off, listen, a crazy win. That's all I can say, right? 134-99, no Joel Embiid, right? The Sixers go off, okay? I get it. All right, and I'm just going to say one thing. I know I'll wait for Jamar to come here. I ain't scared of the Nets, not scared of the Nets, this and that. I know we're going to get into that. But let me just say something. The expectations for me coming into this game were that they would win this game. Number one, knowing that the San Antonio Spurs right now are not yesterday's San Antonio Spurs. Already knew DeMar DeRozan was not playing. LaMarcus Aldridge is being bought out. Okay, I am not looking at a team right now with DeJounte Murray, okay, and Derek White and Patty Mills, who may, okay, like I'm sure Al's going to talk about a little bit, that, you know, I see him go back with Kevin McCormick about maybe Patty Mills being a trade candidate for the Philadelphia 76ers. So that being said, I will say that I was fully surprised that we did blow this team out. I was not expecting that. I was expecting a win. I was not expecting almost a 40-point blowout. The Sixers scored 21 straight possessions in the third and fourth quarter. I mean, and a lot of it was with their bench guys, like Isaiah Joe out there, right? And it was just Vincent Porter even gets 2 points against 7 minutes of clock. Eric Ferguson, Paul Reed. I mean, it's unbelievable. But guys, I have to say, I'm still going to stick with this. It's the San Antonio Spurs who had absolutely nobody. I can't come on here and say I'm fully convinced that we're going to the NBA Finals right now. I just can't do it. So before we get into that, I don't want to be Mr. Negative, but I will just go right into the game. Andre, let's bring again Tony Jigsaw Cotillo, Al Griffin, Andre Johnson, Heat Racer Sports. Andre, first of all, how you feeling? Second of all, what'd you think of the game, buddy?
I'm feeling incredible. I love the game. Hey, man, listen, the Sixers came back without no Joel Embiid. Like you, I knew they were going to win the game, or I felt that they were going to win the game. But a blowout, not really sure if I had that in the books. But I'll take it. I'll take it. And we did what we're supposed to do. Now, here on out, in this second half of the season, we got to win the games that we – listen, I don't care who's out on the opposing team. I really don't. I know they didn't have DeMar DeRozan. I really don't care. Popovich is over there looking like the Southern guy.
We got people out.
Yeah, we got people. Listen, we don't have Joel Embiid. We didn't have Joel Embiid tonight. And what I like is the starters did what they were supposed to do, and the bench came in wrecked shop. So to me, listen, we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Second half, when we came out in the second half in that third quarter, blew it wide open. I believe it was like 40. We were winning by like 41-28. We outscored them 41-28 in that quarter or something.
46 points in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, this is what we're supposed to do. I thought Doc did a genius thing by starting Tony Bradley. Not starting, yeah, but over Howard, because I thought that was a genius move on Doc's part. Because Bradley came off a really good game. I mean, you got to get the kid some minutes and get his confidence, because we're going to need him obviously in the playoffs. So great win, good win. We moving right along. I'm not concerned. Like I said, I'm not concerned about the Brooklyn Nets until we play the Brooklyn Nets. Now that's my focus is on winning who's in front, beating who's in front of us. Until we get Joel back, yes, it's going to be a little unsettling, but it was great to see Ben back on the floor. It was great to see him being aggressive. Man, that guy, it was great to see Danny Green. Shout out to Danny Green. He started off the game hot.
Fire.
Hey, listen, at one point he had 11 of our 15 points in the first quarter. So to me, that's what we needed to get the game started, man. So I feel incredible. Great win by our guys, the Sixers.
Now, you mentioned a couple good things. Number one, you mentioned the bench. That's a very positive thing because we've talked about the bench on this show in nauseam, right? We need a strong bench. We need a strong bench not only to rest our guys going into the playoffs, but we need a strong bench for when we get to the playoffs because we already know we only go 6 or 7 deep in the playoffs, but you still need that 8, 9, or 10 guy to be able to step in if there is an issue. So that was a good thing. Now, Bill Chexton says we had to do it. Doc looked like a maestro. Yeah, Doc Rivers looked like a maestro. Andre, you mentioned the Tony Bradley thing. He did that a couple of nights ago, and it looked really good. It worked again. Now, me personally, Tony Bradley, whatever. But, if he gets us by to where we need to be, I'm perfectly fine with it. But, Al, I know you are like the Sixers #1 fan, man. You are. I know you love this team. I do. And I know you hate when I sit there and I'm like, I got that May kind of feeling. I just, listen, I just know, I know what Andre's saying, but my whole thing is we've been here before. This isn't uncharted territory. We've been here before. We've won games we were supposed to win, not all the time, but I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking down the road because to me, it's still only a regular season, which means to me absolutely nothing. It's all about the playoffs. So I'm looking at how we're going to be built for the playoffs. But overall, what's your thoughts, Al?
Well, it's good to be back. We've been off for a little bit.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
And let me make sure I start off with everybody can check the standings on ESPN right now. We're number 2. We have the second best record in the NBA, not the Eastern Conference right now, the NBA. We're 1.5 behind Utah right now because they lost today. So let's just start off from there. So from there, I got a few thoughts, but I think one of the most important things is I don't know if everybody else is paying attention, but this bench is gaining confidence. Now, whether the bench all will be intact for, through the trade deadline, that's here or there. We don't know. We hope so. We don't know for sure. But the bench is playing very, very, very confident right now. Looks like everybody knows what they do, what to do, where to be, how to get it to that person, take certain shots, don't take certain shots. So those type of things are important with the bench. You got to know your role. You got to know that you shouldn't be doing certain things, and other times you should be doing certain things and have to execute those type of things. Quick thought. Thibault is on fire. He has 15 steals in 6 games. 15 in 6. The last 6 games, he has 15 steals. So, everybody, we got to, dude, we cannot get rid of Thibault, dude. We cannot. I don't care what they're going to do. Otherwise, Thibault can't be touched, dude. You can't get rid of a person that can do so many other things on the court. And he's hitting shots now.
So you don't want Zach LaVine?
Well.
Oh, come on, man. You said you got to keep Thibault.
Zach LaVine isn't going anywhere. I seen that article today that Lowry isn't going anywhere. All the stuff has changed. All the winds have changed in Toronto that he's not going anywhere. And so those you won't hear those rumors. Well, you might, but you see it's died down a lot. But I like the feeling. I'll talk some more about other things later, but those things are key as far as the momentum. I mean, it is what it is, dude. You got to just play who's on your schedule. Nobody cares. If Ben was out tonight, would somebody have said, "Oh my God, the Sixers lost because Ben and JoJo"? No, they would have just said the Sixers lost. It doesn't. They don't care if we got people out. So why should we care if they got people out? We want to keep it moving. We're gonna play this name on Wednesday, and then we got to take the trip to Milwaukee, and that's back-to-back nights again. So now we got to come with some fury. Hopefully, we can get another blowout against the Knicks, so we can get some rest because we're going to need them. You're going to have to full force, everybody healthy and rested going in and playing Milwaukee.
Now, you make a couple good points. Number one, you're right. Nobody cares if Joel and Ben aren't playing for us. I can completely understand that, 100%. But I think the difference for us is we need to honestly be true to ourselves and gauge the amount of talent that we are actually playing. If we blow out the Cleveland Cavaliers by 45 points, are we putting a trophy in our case already? No. Right. But what I'm saying is, I listen, we had to win this game. I completely agree. We had to win this game. I didn't expect to win by this much, which makes it even better. I'm just saying, I just want everybody to pump the brakes just a little bit. My man Vinny checking in. I'm 1-1 with him right now. This is a perfect comment. And Andre will go right to you with this. Vinny, this is a nice win, but the team's needs haven't changed. Playoffs are, and that's my whole point. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not happy. I'm just saying, like Vinny just said, it's a nice win, but Andre, things haven't changed on this team.
Hold on one second. Vinny, you've been commenting on every show. Can we see who you are? Can you put a face on there? Come on, dude. Put an avatar. Put some type of avatar. Put your daughter, your cute son, something. You talk all day on all the shows, and I don't even know what you look like, dude.
We love you, Vinny.
I'm gonna let him borrow the Jigsaw meme or something, man. He could throw a Jigsaw face up there or something.
Go ahead, Ray.
So we love. First of all, we love you, Vinny. Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, we love you, baby.
I'm gonna tell you this. I've always been a guy, especially in the NBA. I've always been a guy that believe that the season starts in the second half. That it's almost like the first half was like a preliminary warm up, and then the real workout is the second half to the playoffs. Right? That's the real workout. So 2 points I want to make. One. The Sixers are literally have opportunity between this week and next week to literally put the league on notice, in a sense, because like Al said, we got a Tuesday, Wednesday game back to back against the Knicks, the ESPN game against Milwaukee Bucks, and then the very next week we're on that West Coast with that trip, and it's 2 games back to back on TNT. So these are nationally televised games that the Sixers are going to be a part of. So they got Golden State and the Lakers. Game right after each other on TNT. So we have an opportunity right now to show the whole league who we really are in the second half. Now, here's where it gets interesting about what we need now to win in the playoffs. What we need now is the guys that we talked about in the past. We need the Bradley Beal, the Lowrys, the Levines that kind of put us over the hump. Right now, we are Eastern Conference Final. We are an Eastern Conference Final team. To put us in the Eastern Conference Finals, we need that extra piece. And that one of the extra pieces that I talked about in previous shows was Griffin. But Griffin ain't here anymore. Griffin is obviously in the Nets. So the Nets did what they needed to do to get a little tougher, get a little more, get some type of defensive presence in there in the post. But we already had those pieces. So we need toughness and a threat on the perimeter, because we can't afford inconsistent play, and our perimeter defense isn't that good to be able to get to the finals. So the guys we talked about, the Zach LaVines, the Bradley Beals, the Kyle Lowrys of the crew, those guys are great pieces for perimeter defensive guys, and the toughness is off the chart. So we know that a piece like that would get us to the finals. That's why it's a little frustrating. Yeah, we're going to take these wins and we're going to maintain momentum. But when it comes to the finals, we still need that one piece. If we don't get that piece and we don't make it to the finals, to me, it's like we're home watching the finals again.
There's Jamar checking in. Let's go. I told on the bench is getting money, period. All right, Jamar, listen, I agree. But again, we played the Spurs, man. Okay, listen, and what I mean by that, the bench team, we're talking about the bench. We can't go in with this bench into the playoffs. I think we all can agree on that. Bill says have a good start to the year, but coming out after the break is very encouraging. And team looking at the bench, the team looks like they're having fun and jelly. I'll tell you one thing, Al. One of the biggest things to me tonight one thing that stuck out to me, and it was one play. And again, it shows the maturation process of Ben Simmons and the growth of Ben Simmons was finally he got double teamed when he was trying to go to the rock or trying to take the rock to the rim. He got double teamed, threw it over to a wide open thigh ball who got a slam, right? That doesn't happen last year because Ben doesn't drive. So this is why we kept yelling and screaming about Ben finish, right? So at the end of the day, that's what I love to see tonight, Al. I love that. He got double teamed at the perimeter, right at the top. He dished it off the wide open thigh ball, and that is what makes Ben Simmons so good this year.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to bring the guy's name up that trashed him the other day, the Washington guy. But I tweeted him again. Did everybody see? Well, if you didn't see, go to Al Griffin Mitsu on Twitter. And I tweeted with the 5-time world champion, Hall of Famer, Olympic gold medalist winner said about Ben Simmons. And I made sure I add Howard Eskins, which is one of Ben's strongest haters, and this guy from Washington that was talking trash the other night.
So here you go,
Hall of Famer says that. What do you think your credibility is saying if he said it?
So, Al, this is for you. Okay, so Derek Bodner asked Ben about this in the press conference tonight. And here was Ben's answer right here. He said, it is what it is. He's like a 5'5" commentator for the Wizards. Everyone has their voice. They can say what they want. Simmons said he had free time during quarantine, so he looked him up on Instagram.
So he did know when that happened. He was trending at one time. That's the only reason I paid attention to it, because it was trending. And I was like, what is this? What's this dude trending talking about Ben? And then I heard it, and I was like, and then even Kendra Perkins said something about it. He was like, what is this? Who is this dude and why he's saying crazy stuff like that? But get back to the game. Yeah, our boy, again, he had that bad shooting streak, but he's came back. Last 5 games, 43% for court from three-point line. 43% the last 5 games. You can't complain about that. 60% from the field today. I mean, how many games you going to have 60% from the field? And 60 at the end of the fourth quarter, we were 60% from the three-point line. That's not going to happen every game. So, I mean, the things that we're doing right now, I'm happy about. But even, you know what, I'm going to be extremely happy if we beat Milwaukee. But I wanted to beat Milwaukee fully healthy so we could show, I mean, you really going to show them what they can look forward to by going and beating them. Now, if we beat them, that's not going to be how we're going to beat them because we don't have Embiid. So I wanted to be full force, beat them, and have that in their minds. Like, damn, they're playing good right now. I want that in their minds. But as far as getting some more pieces, we got to see. I still think we need something, but I'm not getting ahead of myself. All I want to do is keep winning. I want to keep our lead and keep it moving. That's all I want to do right now.
So here's the interesting part about what we need and getting another piece. And I want to hear you guys' stance on this, because obviously we know, thankfully, Embiid hyperextension. And I'm not going to say
what do you guys think about Terry?
Right, well, I'll talk about how you feel about it. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second.
I never was a real, but even when he was in Boston, I wasn't a big guy. Terry,
but you know what? He's a presence. He's a high motor guy, right? And he likes to shoot, right? And it's something that, you know, you get a Scary Terry on this team, and now you get to push Danny Green to the bench, or you get to push.
First of all, can you stop?
Terry to the bench.
We're not Boston fans. Stop saying Scary Terry. Just say his name, Terry. Get that Scary Terry out of here. Boston fans called them that. Not with this is Philly. You ain't calling him no Scary Terry. Get him out of here with that.
Go ahead, Andre.
Go ahead, Dre.
No, I'm just saying, Vinny must know Jenna. Right. So let's just start there. And Jenna, I saw you pop up. See, there it is. I saw you, Jenna. Okay. Congratulations, you're 1 game above 500. We get it. You're 19. But if the playoffs started today, I believe you're in the 5th spot, right? You're in the 5th spot. That's a nice little sweet spot to get knocked out of the playoffs. But that's another thing. Because if the season ended now, the Sixers will be playing Atlanta. Okay, so to me, that's a nice sweep and a nice rest after that. Because our season really is not going to start until the second and third round of the playoffs. So, Jenna, I get it. It's okay. Just wanted to let you know if you didn't know. And to Al's point, no nicknames. That's a violation. No nicknames for people who are not on the Sixers.
Right.
Terry, whoever you are, whatever. Now, Rozier is a good guy. He's like Tony said, high motor, comes in, he's going to put up some shots. He's just going to be the man. But the bottom line, but he's not here, and we're fine. And what does he do? He doesn't move the needle anyway.
Hold on, Dre. Hold on. Please address this dude.
No, I don't want to. No, because some things, some things don't need to be addressed. Because that you put Rozier in the E word. I can't even say it. I can't even say it.
That's true. That's true. Awkward. Yeah.
I know that's just clickbait. I get it. That's just clickbait. It's just what a reaction.
You got to be a Boston fan to say that.
Come on, man. That's some Freudian stuff. I'm good. I'm not even a psychology major, but that's some Freudian stuff.
Wow.
Jenna, Celtics do belong to the NBA because we need somebody to practice with. What are you talking about?
Oh, there you go.
It's all good. It's all good.
So let me ask you guys this. So let's talk about JoJo for a minute. And we keep talking about we know we need another piece. We know we need a bench piece, but my thing is let's think about it in the simple fact that what if now they say 2 weeks we reevaluate it. In my opinion, he's missing at least four. Okay,
minimum.
Right? Minimum. Exactly. And for my money, I don't care if you sit him out the entire regular season. Right? If I
don't go that far. You got to get some warm up games because you got to get him in shape. He's got to be in shape. That's part of the problem of this injury. Is he's got to eat right. He's got to eat right. He can't be sitting on the couch chilling, eating all the crap. Dude, you got to maintain the weight as much as you can and do as many things as you can staying off of that foot while you're doing all of this, and then come back and then try. Hopefully he can get in. It won't take him too long to get his form back and get the feel back. But I can't keep him out the whole season. But I do want him to. I am thinking definitely for 3 to 4 weeks because they're saying they're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks now. At first they didn't say that. They said two weeks, and now they're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. And the same thing with Anthony Davis. Remember they said after the All-Star break, he'll be back. Now, we're going to reevaluate in 3 more weeks. Dude, they got a serious problem too. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I can't see minimum 4. I'll call it 4.
Well, how does that change your stance on the piece that we need and the pieces that we give up to get? Because again, right? Well,
the goal is still the same.
Well, it's got to change a little bit because, because the trade deadline is going to be before your big man comes back,
right?
Okay.
Right. So we have to start to think as, listen, Tony Bradley, great. Congratulations. Look really good against the San Antonio Spurs. But I am not putting all my eggs in the Tony Bradley basket. So what I'm saying is, does your mindset flip a little bit and say, okay, I know we have Dwight Howard. I get it. Okay. Well, Dwight Howard was made here for a specific reason. Right. Mm-hmm. He wasn't made here to play 20, 30 minutes. Okay. Right. Let's not kid ourselves. So what I'm saying is, let's ask you guys this. What if, hypothetically, there was a guy on the other team that's being bought out, LaMarcus Aldridge? Right? So what I'm just saying is I think maybe it's a buyout market, right? If you're gonna bring somebody on a team, that's a buyout, I don't keep PJ Tucker. Give me LaMarcus Aldridge. And the only reason why I say that is because we just don't know. Like you said, Al, reevaluate after 2 weeks, right? We don't know. I much rather would have LaMarcus Aldridge in the playoffs than Tony Bradley if I don't have a healthy Joel Embiid. That's all I'm saying. I think we need to reevaluate what our needs are based on that injury.
When you say it like that, then I get what you're saying. Just in case.
Yes.
Just in case. Where if this injury didn't happen, you wouldn't even have thought about that part at all.
Exactly.
I got it. Okay. But again, you have to have a long talk with. You have to have a long doc. Can get him in town or get him on the phone. And I need to talk to him for like 3-4 hours. Actually, I want to face to face because I want to see it in his eyes, dude. I'm not bringing you here if you're not ready to play, if you're not in the right mindset to play. We're trying to win a chip. If you're not all in, if you're not in shape, because that's why another reason why I want to see what he looks like and I want to see his face. You're not in the total, and that was the same thing I was thinking about with Blake Griffin. If you're not totally here with what we're trying to do and going to be all right with it, maybe certain games you don't even play at all. It could go 3, 4, 5 games you don't even get off the bench unless it's a blowout. If you can't handle those things, then I can't have you come to Philly. I'm out. I'm good. So it's certain things that you would have to do with a player like that and get an understanding from the beginning. Hey, this is what it's going to be, and if you down with it, let's go.
Well, here's the thing. I have to agree with, as much as I really don't want to, but theoretically, I have to agree with Tony because you want that. It kills me because I don't want to break up our team. I love the
way you just put that.
Yeah, because I don't want to break up our team for a piece that we don't kind of need. I'd rather break up our team for a piece we really need. It's like an Aldridge would give you that all that good veteran savvy, his toughness, all those things. But I think we have enough of those type of players on the team.
I wouldn't say tough.
Well, I always liked them, and I always liked his game. He's like basic Billy to me, So he never was flashy. He was always he bought his lunch pail every day. But here's what's wild. We have a tough April. That's why I want to just rack up these wins we have now. We have a tough April. We got like back-to-backs against Milwaukee. We going up against Phoenix again. We got a crazy West Coast stretch. We got the Nets in April. I mean, we have a tough April. So if we're talking 4 weeks or what have you with our big man, that's between now and the middle of April, right? We're going to really get tested. And this is perfect for where we are now. This is perfect. We finally killed that half game. Now we're a full game ahead of Brooklyn. Hopefully they'll lose their next game. We win our next game against the Knicks, of course. And we have to continue to build that stretch. We don't have to make up any ground. We got to like make the lead bigger so we can have that cushion before Joel gets back. And when Joel gets back, that's when we have to make a serious playoff run. Because we start making that playoff run, one thing I don't want the Boston Celtics fans. They're nauseating as Dallas Cowboy fans. They're just nauseating. So I don't want none of them coming back. I don't want Jenna saying, "Look at us. We were in the 5 spot when the last time I heard from you. Now we're in the 2 spot." I don't want anything like that going on. Let's handle our business. Let's beat the people that's in front of us, and let's move on. April's going to be tough. May is going to be according to the schedule, but by the time the playoffs come, we need to be ready and fully healthy with an entire team to go into the playoffs and handle our business. Listen, anything less than the finals to me is just a disappointing season. These guys are balling. These guys are balling.
I agree.
So Bill says Aldridge reminds me of Al Horford. Don't think he fits and is slow moving. Well, here's the thing. Listen, have you seen Tony Bradley run? I'm just throwing it out there because the last time I checked, he wasn't winning no goddamn 40-yard dashes either. So I don't need LaMarcus Aldridge to win a triathlon.
He's not going to play a lot of minutes anyway.
Right. All I need him to do is sit at the top of the key, hit that nice 20-footer that he can hit. Right.
That pick.
Give you about 12
he lived off of that his whole career, that foul line, free throw line shot. Bang. Right off the corner of the free throw line. All day long he can make.
If you think about it, it's exactly what Boogie Cousins was supposed to do for Golden State. Yep. Right? It's the same kind of role that we would want LaMarcus Aldridge to play. That's all. Listen, if Joel Embiid is great and fine, what's the worst that could happen? So
a veteran minimum salary.
Well,
a veteran minimum salary. Who cares? Yeah, absolutely. I would take that.
Don't think about it this way. So right now, you're sitting there and you have Tony Bradley and Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid. So if Joel Embiid is good, the worst case scenario, you wind up with Tony Bradley saying out of here, and you wind up with Aldridge, you wind up with Dwight Howard and Joel Embiid. I mean, that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing. So I really think we need to really look at this a little more. And if the Sixers people are listening out there, I think you really need to pick up the phone and find out how we get. I'm just saying,
I'm saying I would love them to be listening.
Exactly. I mean, listen, man. I really think it's something that we should think about. And Dan says, "What do you guys think about Boogie? He's sitting around." So there you go. There's another big guy. Al, what do you think about Boogie Cousins?
I actually would like Aldridge better than Boogie, but it wouldn't hurt anything to bring Boogie in. He brings that toughness. Back to Aldridge, I never really was a fan. I always thought he was soft. Like
Boogie?
No, never Boogie. I'm not talking about Boogie. Aldridge.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say,
you can't even put Boogie in the same sentence with soft.
I was about to feel your head.
No. Aldridge, I always thought he was a little too soft because he'll battle a little bit, but he ain't battling too much. He ain't putting up too much fight down low. Yeah, you are good. You had every bet. I ain't gonna fight you. That type of attitude. So he loves to take that little shot. So he'll I would take him for the veteran minimum, but Boogie, not bad. I mean, actually, you know what? If you didn't think that Aldridge was a good idea and you talked to him and you didn't feel right, I would do a Boogie as an emergency, because again, he's not playing that much anyway. He's just going to be a little serviceable backup. Maybe you got foul trouble. Maybe whatever the circumstance may be.
Boogie totally gives us a whole nother team though. Boogie, you place Boogie in that 4 spot, the team just looks totally different, because it's no different than when Blake Griffin went to the Nets. Their team is going to just look different. The offense, I don't think is going to flow as good as it's flowing now. Joe Harris is shooting his lights out. I think that rotation is going to be a little weird in the beginning. Of course, they're going to have to try to figure it out before they make their playoff run. But once again, a player like Boogie is remember when I was like, I don't mind Blake Griffin coming here. I would have took a Blake Griffin because I know what his offense looks like. Right? Now, I believe the Nets was very aggressive to get Blake because they know he brings an offense, but more importantly, he gives them a little more toughness. Because what were the cracks on the Nets? They were a little soft, and they're a little soft, number one, and number two, they didn't play any defense. So they got a guy who can play a little defense, and he got some toughness. The Sixers, like I said, we need that 2-3 spot. We need that 2-3 spot that's a scorer and a perimeter D guy. Because once again, we talked about it a lot. We said, listen, how many times do we go down the court, shoot a 3, and then the other team goes down and shoot a 3, like at the very next play and hit it? And we're like, yo, where's the perimeter defense at? Like, where's the transition defense to get back and defend that? So we need that guy to get down there. And usually it's not when Thibault's on the court. When Thibault's on the court, this guy is all over the place. He causes crazy matchup problems. And he's such a pest on defense that he completely throws off the other team's offense. So to your point, Al, earlier in the conversation, this guy we cannot lose, period. We can't lose. Doc brought in the mentality, get out there on defense, and flat out, he is executing his plan. And that's why I'm loving the way Doc Rivers is mentally and physically and whatever way possible getting this team to play like a cohesive unit. Man, listen. Jenna just messed the whole train of thought up, but it's all good. We love you, Jenna. But the bottom line is, Anyway, oh man. The bottom line is we need to keep winning. It was a good win tonight.
What's that date again? April what? 9th, 6th?
April 6th? I think it's April 6th, right?
What, the Celtics game?
I can't wait for that to come, boy. I can't wait. That's gonna be one of our all-time shows right there that night.
Shots more consistently, unlike what Al did here, no question. As what Dan says, Mike says, friendly vet competition, nothing wrong with that. I completely agree. But Andre, you said some things, and I want to bring this up, because you brought up the Blake Griffin thing, and the thing is, everybody gets so consumed about. And listen, I'm not saying that because they have Blake Griffin, just give him the ring, give him the trophy. I'm not saying that. But I think people get too, infatuated with the simple fact that because a guy hasn't played up to what, his productivity, that all of a sudden he's washed. Blake Griffin is not washed. Blake Griffin had a lot of injuries. Blake Griffin played on his team. He wasn't. Listen, would you be excited to play on the Pistons? Seriously, would you be? Let's be honest here. Like it's like
the 90s
game, and you get picked up by the little Giants. So you have Rick Moran as coach of your team instead of Al friggin' Bundy. I want Al Bundy, right? That's a little Giants ref. So yeah, I get it. I understand. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but goddamn, it's Blake Griffin. It's Blake Griffin. He's a good ass player, and if they add a guy like Andre Drummond, which they desperately need. Listen, that's a super team. And I'm not saying we can't beat a super team. I'm just saying I would be concerned. All I'm saying, I don't want them to be concerned.
And that's a difference. A super team, to see, and we got to make sure we point out the difference between a super team and a team with just a bunch of names. Because that old Laker team that was just a team with a bunch of names, like the Laker team that had Gary Payton and Karl Malone and all those guys, we're like, that's just a team with a bunch of names because they didn't win it together. They didn't win anything when they were all there. It was just a team with a bunch of names. Now, a super team, you put. I agree. You put Drummond and all those guys. That may be almost an all-star team. That's like 3-4 guys on an all-star starting five, and they're former all-stars. So you got some current and former all-stars on the same starting five. So that's the difference between a super team and a team with just a bunch of names. My man Marty checked in and said LaMarcus Aldridge is 5 years. He checked in on a text and said LaMarcus Aldridge is 5 years older than Boogie. He said he would pick Boogie all day over him.
Oh wow, okay.
So I didn't know that, but I'm thinking
I haven't looked into him in a while. But damn, that's
no
a good
one's
point.
checking because no one's checking for those guys. Like this is the type of league. If you're here today, going today. It ain't here today, going tomorrow. You're here today, going today. Like today, who knew that Isaiah Joe was back up from the G League tonight? Who knew that? Who knew that? Like, and then he got a game. He's like, I didn't even see him on the bench. So you're here today, going today. So we got to play, and I'm still sticking to what I was saying in the beginning. We have to beat the teams that are in front of us. Beat the teams that are in front of us. We got to end the month on a great note. We got to beat the Celtics. We got to beat. I don't even call them Celtics anymore. We call them Jenna's team. We got to beat Jenna's team.
Jenna just messaged me.
We gotta keep it going.
She just messaged me and said, "I'm over you guys. I'm tired of you guys trashing my team." Come on, Jenna, it's all in fun. It's the Celtics. It's not like it's Golden State. It's the Celtics. It's like the Cowboys to the Eagles. It is what it is. We gotta, come on, Jen. It's all love. It's all love, Jen. Yeah, oh my goodness. She said, I'm done with you guys. Tony, wait, come on, man. Tell your girl to relax.
Hey, man, everybody, listen, it's basketball, so everybody's wound up, man. You know what I mean? Everybody, the energy levels are at an all-time high. What can I say? Dan says, I mean, the dude isn't the same player talking about Blake, but he can still ball. That thing, I haven't seen him dunk it over 2 years, probably because he's been so damn injured. He's probably had a bad hand for 2 years. He probably doesn't know how to dunk. But Mike says, Dan, I don't think I've seen Aldridge play in 3 years. Actually, Aldridge did play, and he didn't play bad at all. It's just, listen, it comes to a point. How old is Aldridge? 36, 37? I mean, he's up there. He's got a lot less tread on days. But Mike says, Phil says the problem with Boogie is his history. On every other team, he ruins every situation. I mean, he does. Listen, he's got a little point. Boogie does have that kind of culture problem. Every now and then he brings some bad culture to the team, right? I mean, I'm not saying. Listen, we've all talked about it that way, but my thing is, with a guy like Boogie Cousins, when he gets to a team that has a leader like Ben, has a leader like Dwight, has a leader like Doc, I think you can keep that in check. Those guys, their egos, their attitudes come out when you start losing, when things happen, right? We all know that. Or when you set them off. T.O. was a good soldier until somebody set him off. We already know that. He got shit. Listen, T.O., but T.O. got shafted. Say what you want. He got shit. The Philadelphia Eagles gave him one of the worst contracts in the history of the NFL, and they purposely did it because they knew he wanted out. And they knew they could grab him. And when he called their punk card and he called them out on it, they didn't know how to act. So, yeah, that pissed T.O. off. So that's what happens to me with guys like Boogie Cousins. But I'm with Vinny right here. Vinny says Aldridge fits better than Boogie as a stretch forward. I agree. If you told me Boogie or Aldridge, I'm going Aldridge. And I know, Andre, you were saying that we were talking about the age differential, but I still think Aldridge at this point gives you more for what this team needs, and for the simple fact that I think Aldridge would be much happier taking a back seat than a guy like Cousins would. So what I mean is you bring in Aldridge and you say, okay, LaMarcus, look, here's the deal. Right now, you're going to take over this team down low, you and Dwight. It's going to be your team. When Joe comes back, you're going to take a back seat. And I think he'd find – listen, I think Dwight Howard would be okay playing 10 minutes a game. Right? Honestly, so I think it's a very happy marriage if we can get it to work. Now, can we get it to work? I don't know. I have no idea. Now, Al, let's keep on this same San Antonio thing because I want to bring up. I know you were spending a lot of time going back and forth with McCormick today. And you mentioned about Patty Mills, which was a name that really intrigues me because I like Patty Mills a lot. Mm-hmm. I think he could really listen. Screw Terry Rozier. No disrespect, but I'll take Patty Mills. I really will. And I know Patty Mills isn't the same energy level guy like like a Terry Rozier is. I almost did it. I won't do it. Okay, but what I will say is Patty Mills, he's more comfortable, I think, in this kind of system, and I think that he would be the perfect complement. He would be what we want, and I know Danny Green had a good game, but whatever. He would be what we all want Danny Green to be, I think, would be Patty Mills. So, Al, what's your thoughts on Patty Mills, and if that's even – because I didn't go back and forth with you guys to see if it was even an option.
He just Kermit had tweeted, Patty Mills, obviously, because he was in town, and he said something to the effect of, I wonder if you brought enough luggage to stay. And I was like, whoa, is that it? Is that, do you have a clue on something? Did you hear something? And he was like, nah, it'd just be a good idea. So then I was like, then I was talking about, what's the name in Detroit? And then he said, yeah, that would be a good option too. But Mills would be what he is a catch and shoot on this team. That's all that he would be on this team instead of having to do more to create a shot. And that's all you want him to do, catch and shoot. So that's his game anyway. When he was at his prime, it wasn't off the dribble, wasn't trying to create, it wasn't doing all of this stuff. It was catching and shooting. So he would be perfect off there. He's in the last year of his deal. It would just be more if the Spurs want to do him a favor. They're not out of the playoff hunt, so they still can make the playoffs. So I don't know if they're just going to start out offloading. He can't pop. It's a little interesting. Pop gave up a little bit earlier than I thought he should have. So I know this is a road trip, and I think they have to play tomorrow. Maybe that's part of it, but he gave up a lot earlier than I'm used to a Pop team giving all they can, and then you have to put them out of their misery to put them away. Like our great announcer kept saying, you have to put them away. They're not going to just go away. So I would like a Patty Mills if we could work some. Again, small price though. I can't be giving up major pieces for a Patty Mills. It's got to be a second or 2 seconds, something like that, to try to get him in here. As far as Ellington, I've been saying that from the beginning, and I still would take an Ellington, the 3-and-D guy. He's doing absolutely nothing in Detroit. He would love to go from worst to first. Like you know how much energy that would give you, just like Blake. You know how much, oh my God, I'm in first place. That gives you all the energy in the world. If you're tired, it's going to give you more energy on the court when you're playing for a first place team. So Patty Mills would be very nice, and I'm still hoping for an Ellington trade.
Well, a couple things about Mills, and then I wanted to make one point. Because Tony, earlier when we first got on, you were talking about pump the brakes, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we might want to pump the brakes on some of these players that we're talking about that come in here, because so the first point I want to make is the whole Patty Mills situation. Number one, Patty Mills is 32 years old. He is a catch and shoot guy. Now, you made a good point about what can he bring that Danny Green doesn't, right? Well, the one thing I've seen him through his entire career do is go to the basket sometimes. Like I don't recall Danny going, like, taking it to the hoop. Like I probably twice this whole season. And I understand that's his role. I get it, but I need somebody that's going to take you off the dribble and go to the basket. Patty Mills has always been tough to me. He's 32 years old. He's a fellow Aussie, like our boy Ben. I mean, somehow they'll gel, click, they'll get together or whatever, play pretty, maybe they'll even play well together. But let me switch gears a little bit about when we're talking about Boogie and LaMarcus. We gotta give some props to my man Paul Reed, B-boy Paul. I'm gonna tell you why. This is my man Marty checked in again on the text, and he made a great point. He's viewing right now. He's checking us out on here, but I'm hoping he's not driving and checking it. Be safe, Marty. If you hear me, be safe, brother. He's leaving the center right now, so I'm hoping he's being safe. But Paul Reed, man, we just added. He just finished the season. We just added possibly the MVP of the G League. This guy was in there beasting, putting up. So B-ball Paul, he's probably listening to these conversations like, I played a 4. Like y'all talking about Boogie and this person and that person. I played a 4, and he came in. He came in and on his first possession scored. Now, to me, that's always sometimes when guys come from the G League and they come into the league, they just want to let you know they're here. I've arrived. I don't need to prove that I need to be in the NBA. I've already proved that I can play in the NBA. And not only can I play in the NBA, I just proved that I may be the MVP of the G League now, at this very moment. So what better guy that's already in your system, that already knows your offense, that we can put in really quick. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, obviously, he's not a veteran. He hasn't been proven, but he fits the team. He is a Sixer. He is a Philadelphia guy. This guy, Paul Reed, is a beast. And so I just wanted to make sure we gave him some props during this show. B-ball Paul is balling. And I like him. I like him, man. So we gotta make sure that the players that we have now, we gotta give them their flowers right now. Right now.
That's a good point, because this is a guy who's already played a full season, right? So he's fresh. Right, he's fresh. He's good, and you're right. He very much well been the MVP of the G League, which is something. And again, I think it's something that we completely look over, because we didn't really need a guy like that right now. But then what happened with the team changed a little bit. And now that we start talking about, like we said earlier, maybe the Kyle Lowry thing isn't going to happen, right? We all know that the Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine thing is just a dreamland. Like, that's not happening, right? We understand that. We get it. So if that's the case, I mean, we talked about it on this show before and said, what else is there? We consistently said if it's no Kyle Lowry, who is the guy to come in? And now if we're talking about guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and Boogie Cousins, why not talk about Paul Reed? So you make a great point because, he's what, 10 years younger, right? right? 10 years young. And now this is the perfect opportunity for the man to play. This is the perfect opportunity for the man to play. Get your reps in now, right? Get your reps in before the big thing starts. So, Alex, check. I like this. Alex, he's dying to hear about the Nets here. He's been hitting us up like over and over again. I've scouted these Sixers. The Nets are not scared of the Sixers if they make. Listen, Alex, I never said the Sixers or the Nets were. I said I was concerned. So if you would have listened from the beginning, not 50 minutes in, and just came in hot, saying, "Oh, you would have understood that I started off the freaking show and said that I was concerned about the Nets." So maybe you need to rewind a little bit before you come in so hot. So pump the brakes a little bit and relax. And I get it. I completely agree. I am concerned a little bit, but we never said the Nets are scared of the Sixers. You're listening to the wrong show.
We wasn't even on that subject right now. We haven't talked about them since the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and he's saying if the Nets play, that's insane. Listen, and you may very well may be right. I don't know. That's why I did say I was concerned. There's a lot of concern. There's a lot of things up in the air right now. We have to get healthy. All right, we have to set our rotations. We definitely are going to get a bench player. We already know we're going to get somebody, and we just have to figure out how that's going to fit. But right now, it's a little bit of concern. R. Crawford says, doesn't Alex Carroll play for the Tampa Bay Lightning? Maybe go back to the ice. Yo, Alex, I can't help you out, bro. You want to come into a Sixers show and try to go hot. Right? You want to try to go hot. It's good. But you better be ready for the heat. That's why we call this half-court heat. That's why we're called a heat ratio. Okay? Because we can get hot just like you. So it's all good. We welcome it. We embrace it. Just be ready when we start smoking you instead of you smoking us. That's all I'm going to say.
Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.
Yes, there you go.
Talking, don't just come in here, pop in real quick, and then pop out, and we'll hear from you the rest of the season. Or if after the next win, then you'll put your comment back up. Let's keep talking. Stay in tune. Don't run and hide.
Keep that same energy. Right. But Alex, there's no offense to you. I want you to listen. Thank you for joining the show. Hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, tell your family. We got to keep it moving. We love this sports show. But I got to tell you this, Alex. When people say a certain team in 6, and I got to give it to, I mean, everybody says that. But I've noticed one thing. When people say a certain team in 6, they're not really sure. Now, if you said the Nets in 5, then that's confidence.
Right,
or the Nets with a sweep, that's confidence. But when you say a team in 6, you're kind of on the fence, bro. Right. It's only 7 games. You're on and if you are a closet Sixers fan, then I have bandwagon applications upstairs. I'll send you one in the mail. I'll pay for postage. Just fill it out. Send it out.
It's amazing how many Nets fans have come out the clear blue sky. I was questioning somebody on JG's show the other night. He just saw how long you been a Nets fan. He never answered the question. Like, come on, man, get out of here just because you got a team all of a sudden.
No, the Nets, if anything, they're fun to watch. Okay, they have a good team. They're fun to watch. And don't get me wrong, I like the Nets, but I'm a Sixers fan. Sixers run through my blood, so I will never bet against the Sixers. Now, I'm also a realist. So watching the Nets is a fun team, but I only like watching them against like another fun team. So if the Sixers play the Nets, I don't want the Nets to even get up a shot. I don't care if they score no points in the game. It's like that's how much it doesn't matter to me. But that's how I feel like about any team that plays against the Sixers. But when you say the Nets in 6, it bothers me a little bit because it's like most people that say that it's not really sure. They're not sure. I don't know. Listen,
we're good enough to get a couple games. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the Sixers aren't.
No. He's saying that we're good enough to get a couple, but not win. That's what he's saying. He said, "Oh, they'll get a couple games, but we still going to take care of business in 6." Well, first of all, why are you even talking about the playoffs? Didn't even start yet, and you talking about this? If we play them in 6, I'm so far away from worrying about that right now. It's not even silly. We got so many things to work on. You worry about the Nets if you're a real Nets fan. And we'll worry about us, and then when we get to where we get to, then we'll talk. Please.
Breaking news. We have breaking news.
Yeah. Sorry, that was supposed to be the gong sound, but I gave him the breaking news. I gave him the breaking news drop like that. There's a breaking news drop, right? But
breaking news. Anyway, man.
Yes.
Hey, man, listen, this is all fun, man. Alex, Andre, listen, you got to understand, though. You know, I get my back up a little bit when you come in hot, because usually there's only one guy allowed to come in hot, and that's me. I'm just throwing it out there. So you're trying to upstage you, which is cool, but you just got to be ready for the blowback. That's all I'm trying to say, is be ready. And honestly, in all seriousness, what Andre absolutely said, and Al, listen, we're not even at that point yet. And I did say I was concerned a little bit, and I think it's obvious. But listen, we've talked about the Sixers. This is half-court heat. What we do is we talk about the Sixers with an NBA state of mind. Little Sixers talk, NBA state of mind. We talk NBA. So usually we do a whole episode. We do half Sixers, half NBA. But being this was a post-game show, we're all Sixers right now. But before we start to end this in a little bit, and for closing, I want to ask you guys about one player. And it's one player that in the NBA that I've been absolutely impressed by, in the sense that I think he's taken the torch from CP3, in my opinion, and it's getting handed right over to the young man from Memphis named Ja Morant. Now, I got to talk about Ja Morant, because listen, I'm not going to bring up the whole Zion thing. Seriously, the way this kid has grown into his role, because he's been taking baby steps, but he gave you little pivots here and there, but now he's on another level. And I really think that he's come to the point where, all right, now it's time for him to take over. And that Memphis team, they're not going to win anything, but they sure are fun to watch. So when we talk about that, right? We talk about the Nets being fun to watch. The Memphis Grizzlies are fun to watch. Valanciunas, right? Going back and forth with Moran. I mean, these guys, Kyle Anderson, I mean, these guys are really, really fun to watch. So what are your guys, Al, what's your opinion of Ja Morant? And what do you think about Memphis? Maybe a couple years from now, they get another good draft, maybe get a nice veteran, and I think they actually can compete.
Yeah, he's. I know that's your boy. Yours always. You got your boys in certain sports. You got Baker in basket and football, and John in basketball. This kid is just electric. He's got to. I think he's going to have to get some pieces like the kid did in Atlanta for them to start winning. They're going to need to get a veteran that can help him score more, that he doesn't have to do it all himself. He's getting some help, but he's not getting the help that he needs for them to go where they need to go to get in the playoffs. They have no shot at getting in this playoffs, but they need a piece. And it's not, I don't even know if it can be a young piece, because it might take too long to get a young piece. I think they're going to have to get a veteran that's not only obviously want for the money, but obviously a young mid guy that's taking a chance on them and say, hey, I'm gonna go to you and we're gonna be the 1-2 and let's go. But I think they're I was watching them the other night. You can't sleep on them. You can't think back in the day you say, oh, I play Memphis, it's an automatic win. It's not an automatic win anymore. They played OKC the day they lost, but they're always in every game. They're not getting smoked. They're not getting blown out. They're just balling. That kid can play. He just needs some help. What do you think, Dre?
Well, a couple things on Ja. First of all, incredible player out of Murray State. What I love about Ja is, I mean, the last 3 games he was scored 21, 16, 22 points. He's averaging about 15 shots a game. He's on a tear, but here's what I think of Ja Morant, aka Demetrius, his real name. But what I think I'm gonna go a different direction, Al. I don't think Ja needs to stay in that market. He's too good of a player to be in it. He's just too good of a player to be. He needs to be in a big market team, because what's going to happen is, in a market like that, the pieces that he needs, are they going to be in a position to even get those type of players or attract those type of players? Now that organization is going to have to leverage Ja Morant to go out and get good pieces. He's a incredible talent. He's only like 6'2.5", 6'3". He's like doing everything he wants to do on the court. So at the end of the day, is that team even in a position to get a really good player and bring them along? So I think he leaves Memphis. I don't think he stays in Memphis, because if he stays in Memphis, no, well, his talent, that's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, that's just the way the business of the NBA is. It's like this guy is in a market. Yeah, this guy is in a market. His talent is bigger than the market.
Yeah, but is he going to be able to turn down that supermax contract to go somewhere to go win? So I get what you're saying, but they're going to do this. They're going to push all that money towards the table and make him say no to it for him to get out of here. And once he says no, then they're going to have to make a move. I get what you're saying, that he may have to go to a bigger market like a New York or something like that to fulfill his expectation. He might have to, but that's a big turn down that's going to be a healthy check that they're going to push at him, and they better do it sooner than later. At that, I think they better do it next year. To the end of this season, I think they should push the chips in and make them say no.
Well, here's the thing. We're talking the job of the GM, the owner, and them guys got to get together. But the business of the NBA and the talent of a Ja Morant. Listen, I agree with you. They have to, if they're going to offer him anything, they got to offer it to him young. Because if he gets 3-4 years in and he's still playing under whatever salary he's under or whatever contract he's under, it's going to get to a point where he's going to be like, I really want to win. He's too big of a talent to just be okay with being in a market that's not going anywhere. Like Memphis is fun to watch. I love to watch Ja Morant. We like you said, Tony, we're not going to get into the Zion and you know how I felt about that. We talked about that earlier. But the bottom line is, I don't think he stays if they don't do it within the next 2-3 years. If they don't give him that check in 2-3 years from now, he's gone. He's going into a market. And don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You best believe as long as there's a guy out there named Michael Jordan who loves players like Ja Morant, who would like, come on. You don't think Michael Jordan and other owners is like, yo, man, we got to get that guy on our team, because Charlotte they have to win. Like there's other teams that is like, you talk about just need that one player to move the needle. Ja Morant is that player, especially if he's at a young age right now. He's exciting. He's explosive. And he can hold the market, meaning he can be the face of a franchise, and I don't care where he goes. It's Ja Morant. If he came to Philadelphia, guess what? Ja Morant's coming to Philadelphia. He brings that type of energy.
I think he has. Here's what I'm looking at. I see your point, absolutely, because we've seen it over the years. Small market teams, guys get out. Just what happens with the Tampa Bay Rays in baseball, right? Guys get out of that market. But here's what's intriguing to me, right? Is the Memphis Grizzlies as a whole. The average age of this team is like 22. right? So if you look at the talent that they could possibly have, if somebody now Valanciunas is the oldest guy at 28, right? Kyle Anderson 27. So yes, in the NBA, once you get to that age of 30, people start to question, right? But when you look at the guys that Ja has under, I mean, Xavier Tillman, really good talent, is a rookie, right? Justin Winslow, 5 years, he's only 24. Jaren Jackson, who we're still waiting for the coming out party, right? 21. Brandon Clark, he's only 24, right? Desmond Bain is 22. Tyrus Jones, 24. They have a lot of pieces. So what I'm saying is I think you're absolutely right. I think it's 50-50. And the 50-50 is like Al said, if they push all that money at Ja, I think it's going to be up to Ja to say, okay, I'm going to take that money, but I need a number two. So I want to be the guy, but I need another guy on this team. So, and I think if he doesn't get that guy, whether they draft a guy, whether they trade for a guy, free agent, I don't know. But I think, Andre, you're right in the sense that if they don't get that guy, that's who he leaves. But what I'm thinking is if they do get that guy, I don't know who it'll be, but maybe it's a Zach LaVine, right? Maybe Zach LaVine in a couple of years, or I think he's got one more year on his deal, and he says, I'm out. Right. So you throw a Zach LaVine on that team, and now you have Ja and Zach, and all these pieces have 1 or 2 more years under their belt. I think it's a very intriguing team in Memphis, especially in the West where those teams are getting a little older.
Well, I knew you were going to end like that because here's the thing. Every decade, every decade, right, of just about, I don't know, whenever it is in a decade, teams in the league kind of filter out all the veterans, right? So within the next 5 to 10 years, all the guys like the Melos, the LeBrons, and the Chris Pauls, and all those guys are not even going to be in the league anymore. And it's not going to be until those guys have moved on that we'll hear about a Clark and a John Moran and all those guys. And those guys will be the faces of the league. And when they become the face, then they become the star. And when they become the star, then that's when the market can benefit from them. The market's not benefiting from them now, as long as you have these veterans and still in the league, like the LeBrons, and not necessarily a veteran in Ben and Joel, but they are still stars. So as long as these stars are still in the league in these particular markets, LaVine is holding down Chicago by himself. What are they doing? You can go in another market and ask who's the starting 5 of the Chicago Bulls. That would be mind-blowing if someone gives me all 5 guys. Right?
But what are they doing? Can you tell me what they're doing there? Why they didn't even offer him a contract? Why?
Yeah, because, brother, listen, is at the same time, like the point I was making is until the veteran guys roll out, then the Memphis Grizzlies and that young group of guys that they have with them, and that's the only way they're going to get any type of airtime. When's the last time they were on like a primetime game or an ESPN game or a TNT game? Because those markets don't bring the revenue. They don't bring the marketing and the ad dollars. The Lakers, the Celtics, the Sixers, the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the same teams because those are big market teams that bring the ad dollars. Memphis is just not that. It's just not that market.
That's true. That's true. Unless you're LeBron and you go to Cleveland and bring the market with you.
No, unless you're LeBron and you can go to French Lick, Indiana, and then that's the market that everybody wants to go to.
Exactly. Bring your market with you.
Yeah, he is the market. LeBron is the market. You can put LeBron in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and that's will be the market.
It doesn't matter. He bringing the market. So this is a good question because we always talk about going about an hour 15 with about 7 minutes left. Dan checks in, our buddy Dan Green, the real Dan Green. So please stand up. So sorry if you addressed this already. It's a good question because I meant to ask this earlier because it's the one thing that did stick out. He says, "Are you surprised in these recent blowouts that Maxey gets hardly any time?" I think it's pretty curious too. And I brought this up to you guys before about him maybe hitting the rookie wall or, in a sense that, he started off real hot and he kind of took a couple steps back. And now even when blowouts, you don't really see him out there either. So do you think this is just a learning experience for Tyrese Maxey? Is this all about the plan for Doc or have you guys even noticed the same thing? Or are we kind of making a little too much out of this?
I think I noticed it a while back, but I think it was one of the shows right after. I think it was right after a game. We had a post show, and I seen something
right?
that he couldn't run the offense the way Doc wanted him to, and he wasn't doing the things that Doc needs him to do coming in with that second unit. And I think I don't say he lost confidence in him. I just think he thinks he needs to go a different route. And he's going about that right now, and he's getting the team prepared for the playoffs. And I don't think he's going to be in the rotation at all in the playoffs. And I don't expect him to be, because I expect to have another veteran coming off the bench that can handle anyway. So I'm not surprised that the way it's going. I think that game, he might have seen the same thing that I seen, that Maxey is just not ready for right now to do what we need to do. And we need him to be able to run the offense and get people in the right positions. And he's not ready for that yet.
I think okay. Because it's Maxey, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think it's very evident and very clear what's going on. Doc Rivers is a practice guy, right? So in the beginning of the season, we saw a lot more Maxey than we did Matisse Thybulle, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what are we seeing now? We're seeing a lot more Matisse and less Maxey, because when the team started gelling and getting together and playing together, Doc realized, hey, we got this defensive guy that's longer, more athletic. It can disrupt the people on the perimeter a little better than Maxey, right? In any part of the game. Because I noticed what Doc is doing to Matisse Thybulle now, he was doing for Maxey in the beginning of the year, subbing him in and out, getting legs under him, getting him running and rolling, right? But he was still a defensive liability. Matisse at least gives you, now think about it. Matisse, and remember, we were talking about Matisse's offense is not clicking. He looks weird. He doesn't fit in the rotation. We were ready to ship Matisse out of here. Like, we were ready to say, you know, not and who are we? Like, we were bugging. We were going to get rid of Matisse like early in the season. Now we're like, thank God for Matisse. Don't leave, right? So let's just keep it real. Like, the guy is playing in tremendous defense. His three is starting to click. He's starting to look like the Matisse that our last coach had, right? He's starting to look at, that's the Matisse that we wanted to start the season. So now he's playing like the Matisse that we know. And that, so to me, I think we're making a little big deal. We're making a bigger deal out of it that we should. But at the same time, it's really evident and clear to me that that Matisse is just playing better. It's really simple. Matisse is playing better. He's playing better defense. He's getting in position on the offenses too. That's the other thing. He's getting, like, when Ben comes down and has to show where the players need to be in position to run a specific offense or half court play, Matisse runs right to that spot. Danny, sometimes I can see Danny coming off that screen, and sometimes it's like he's a little too shallow or he's too wide out. But the veteran comes out of him and he knows where he needs to be, right? So that's where I think Doc, being a coach, made that adjustment. So I think we're making we're making too big of a deal out of it. And I think Dan brought up a great point that we have to talk about, because tonight and the last few games before the All-Star break, his minutes are almost exactly the same. So yeah, I put him in during a blowout, or put him in on an emergency situation, or we need. I mean, think about it. Wow, this guy Matisse is what we're saying, man, he's a beast. Remember, like in the first episode, second, you said, Andre, what do you think about Matisse? I said, he's a beast. The guy is fearless. He's still fearless. He comes in looking for his shot. Right? He comes looking for a shot. He has and that's what you want. You want a guy that can come in and not like his eyes don't get big because the lights came on. So listen, he's a great young player that I think that is going to be in the league for a long time. If he goes somewhere else, he's going to give somebody, he's just going to be a problem for the opposing team.
No, I agree. I do, and that's one thing I can stick to my laurels about because I was the one guy in the beginning I said not to trade. The one guy last year who I kind of even I know it's a stretch, but I compared him to a Scottie Pippen like player in a sense that that's what he could be for this team. Not that he's necessarily Scottie Pippen, but he could possibly be that 1B or 1C on this team if he can just find the offensive offensive minded, on his stroke. I know what Dan talks about. He says he's got a funky Max has a funky release, but listen, Matisse to me, you don't get elite defenders that come along every day. You don't. Right. And now technically this team has two elite defenders in Ben and Matisse. And, Doc Rivers did say in his press conference, I want defense. Right. Doc said he wants defense. So he's showing you right now. And if this kid keeps working at it, it's not like the kid couldn't shoot in Arizona. Right. We're not like he's a wildcat, man. Like he did have a game, but it didn't translate to today's NBA. But that doesn't mean he can't shoot. Shooting and scoring are two different things. So once he learns how to do that, man, I'll tell you what, this kid could be really special, man. He really, really could be special, 100%. So, yeah, listen, there are some good, excited things to be happy about, or I should say good things to be excited about when we talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. They destroy the Spurs tonight, absolutely destroy. Listen, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's just enjoy the moment, right? Let's enjoy it, okay? Because we as a team, not only the Sixers, but here on the Heat Ratio, here Heat Ratio Sports, have a monster squad, man. Let me just tell you something. I'm going to end by this because we have a lot of cool things coming up and a lot of things down the road. And tonight was the NCAA Final Four bracket that went up, right? This was March Madness start tonight. And we're going down to partnership this week. So if everybody likes bobbleheads, which I love me some bobbleheads, like these aren't the bobbleheads you get a Five Below. Okay, this is the National Bobblehead. This is the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame. Okay, these are legit. They come in cases, certificate of authenticity. These are handcrafted, right? So we have struck gold here. I'll tell you straight up. I reached out to Phil Schuyler, who runs the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame, and we talked, and he said, you know what? Not only do I want you guys to give away two this time, which is, I'll tell you what, which is pretty special because, look, their bobblehead this time is Joe Lenardi, which is the bracketology guy, bracketologist, right? So how symbolic is it right now? So we're going to be giving two of those away, but he said, you know what? For the rest of the year, feel free. Let's give two away every time we release a limited edition bobblehead. So we did this with Gritty, if people remember from last year, but it was only a one-time thing. So this is going to be the entire year. So Heat Ratio Sports, National Bobblehead Hall of Fame. This is what we're doing. Giving away. This isn't a code. It's not a discount code. It's not an affiliation. This is real, legitimate product that you get to have for free. So we will develop a system. I'm going to be honest. We're going to develop a system. It's going to be, it may be a little different than your typical giveaway where it's just a retweet. Like, no, we're going to get a little more scientific in this because I want you guys. These are very precious to me. I'm a huge sports collector. You see the wall behind me. You guys haven't even seen the other side. I have about 30 bobbleheads already of different. I love bobbleheads. I do. One of my favorite giveaways. I would always pick the Phillies game. When's the bobblehead giveaway? Right? When's the bobblehead? That's the one I want to go to. But listen, really, really cool stuff. So we'll have more on that this week. Also, in closing, we have the great Mark Farzetta will be live on Heat Ratio Sports. Heat Ratio Live Tuesday night. Mark is doing the entire episode. He said, you know what, Tony, I want to do the whole thing. So, okay, great. So Mark will be on at 8 o'clock. Starting hot with us. He's doing great things on the Farzi show. Just talked to him on Friday to double check, make sure we got some fun things planned. I want to thank Jeff Mosher for being on a couple of weeks ago. Still, and what was cool about that is a lot of things that Jeff did say came to fruition, which is pretty cool. That's how you know a guy is really dialed in, into that culture. So it's been great. But Andre, any closing words before we get out of here?
Hey, listen, great win from our guys, the Sixers. Shout out to Danny Green for coming out hot. I did that on purpose. My guy. Good job. Ben being a monster, being aggressive. That's what we like. Everyone that's tuned in, just thank you for tuning in, man. We appreciate it. We love everybody. So let's make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you're watching it on Facebook, hit that share button. Hey, spread the word, man. Heat Ratio Sports. Let's go.
Al, what you got, buddy? Closing thoughts.
Same thing. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Good Sixers win. I just want to just see us go for it. Just play consistent ball. That's all I'll ask for right now with JoJo out. And I'm very interested in Tuesday, Wednesday. That's going to tell me actually a whole lot about the team. Back-to-back on the road again, just like we did a couple of days ago. So good win, and let's go Sixers.
Yeah, I like it. Say every time here at Heat Ratio Sports on Half Court Heat and all the shows that I am a part of. Everybody in this crazy, crazy world that's finally getting into some type of normalcy will get there eventually. So shout out tonight, fans in the Wells Fargo Center, right? Had some fans.
Really?
So it's a big step, right?
It's a beautiful sight.
Small percentage, right? But it was nice to actually hear some real legitimate fans, which is listen, it will be nice. It'll be nice to actually go down there, go to a game, Xfinity Live. We got our man Scotty say he's broadcasting straight from the parking lot. So I'm just letting you know, man, we are not you're gonna see us everywhere, man. Trust me, you are gonna see us everywhere. But for everybody here at the Heat Ratio, family, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, hit the subscription button, hit the bell, and we'll catch you next week.